What's good, everybody? It's Mike Reed, and welcome to My Life Ministries, where leadership, influence, faith, and evolvement are the principles that we look to live by every single day of our life. And by us living those principles, it helps us to help youth to become motivated young leaders that implement faith every day in their lives as well. Today, I just want to get on here to talk about there's a story in the Bible about twin brothers named Jacob and Esau. And Esau was born first, which gave him the birthright to be able to inherit everything from his father. Now, Esau was a man who loved to be in the field. He loved to hunt. He loved to do things like that. And Jacob was more of a homebody. And one day, Esau, he came home from the field and he noticed that his brother Jacob was cooking some stew. And Esau was starving, almost to the point to where, he even was saying, I'm starving to death. He asked his brother, hey, can you give me some of that stew because I'm starving? His brother Jacob, he replied and he said, if you sell me your birthright, then I will give you some of this stew. Now, Esau, I knew that he understood what the birthright meant, but at the same time, by him even thinking and debating on selling that birthright, it showed how meaningless it was to him as well, because of his starvation and because of his hunger to satisfy his urge of what he was feeling at that moment. And he felt like by selling his birthright was going to feed his appetite to be able to make him feel better only in that moment. So when he met with his brother, he told his brother, he said, yep, you can have my birthright, which gave Jacob, his younger brother, access to the inheritance of what his brother and what his father had. So Esau, he ate the soup, and the birthright, it belonged to Jacob. Now, God gives us a birthright, and the birthright that God gives us as Christians is he gives us the birthright for us to be able to inherit salvation. He gives us the birthright in order for us to be able to inherit the kingdom of God. He gives us the birthright to even be able to inherit the earth. He gives us the birthright to be able to inherit glory, honor, and crowns in heaven when we arrive there. He gives us the birthright to be able to have gifts of mercy, grace, and love. And sometimes, even though that we know that that is our birthright, and that birthright is so important, and that birthright is extremely valuable of what I just read, we sit back sometimes and we allow we allow the feeling that we have of this hunger, and we allow the feeling of starving to get the best of us, and we begin to look at everything that is around us to help feed this appetite that we have, which causes us to give up our birthright. And what you have to ask yourself is, what are you starving for? What are you craving? What is in your life that is causing you to go after this meal, or go after this thing so hard to the point to where you're literally ready to give up the inheritance that God has given you? Is it social media? Is it people? Is it girls? Is it boys? Is it TV? Is it your language? Is it your addictions? Is it your habits? Whatever it is, is it lies? Is it whatever it is? You know exactly what it is that you are starving for. And the moment that you get that urge, the moment that you get that craving, and the moment that you get that hunger, you are willing to give up your birthright. You're willing to give up your birthright that God has given us. For us to inherit, you give it up for something that is only going to satisfy you for the moment. And when you get that feeling of starving satisfied, what happens after you eat a good meal? You may sit down, you may get tired, you may want to go to sleep, all of these different types of things. You feel that comfort for that moment, and then the next day, you wake up and then you're hungry again, and then you're starving again. So in those little moments that you have in your life, you have to learn how to be disciplined enough to eliminate that feeling of starving, to eliminate that feeling of hunger that is going to make you fall off track, or that is going to make you step aside, or that is going to make you forget about the inheritance that God has for you. You have to believe and ask yourself, how important is the inheritance that God is leaving you? He's left you with all of this. He's left you with so many promises, and how valuable is that, and how important is that to you? Or is all of these little bitty things that are around around you, or all of these cravings that are around you, are they worth it? Are they worth filling your belly? Are they worth filling your mind? Are they worth giving you small moments of satisfaction? You know, just because you feel like you're starving to death, just because you feel like I need this, you know, if I don't eat this, I'm gonna die. If I don't participate in this, I'm gonna, you know, something's gonna happen. You know, you have all of these different thought processes in your mind, to the point to where you'll get yourself off track, and then you'll lose the inheritance of God. And you don't want to be in that position to where you lose the inheritance of God because you're starving over something that you don't even need. So you need to learn how to check your appetite. You need to learn how to check your cravings. You need to learn how to trust in the inheritance of God and believe in the inheritance of God. And you need to hold on to the inheritance of God. You do not have to give up your inheritance for anything. Do not allow things that look good to you, you know, or things that, you know, they may satisfy you, get the best of you, because it's not worth it. You know, things that you allow to go into your ear gates and your eye gates, they are not worth it. I don't care what TV show, I don't care what type of music, I don't care what you may see walking, I don't care. It's not worth losing your inheritance. It's not worth losing your inheritance. It's that time of the day for us to get serious and find the importance of who God is in our life, and understand that if it's not God, then it's nothing. And that's the mindset that we have to have. And we have to be okay with living that way. We have to be okay with living that way. We have to be okay with saying, you know what, God, I'm going to serve you no matter what. I'm going to serve you, and I'm going to continue to fight off every demon. I'm going to continue to fight off every urge. I'm going to continue to fight off every craving, because I'm not going to allow myself to get in the position to where I am starving to the point to where I feel like I have to give up what you've given me. I have to give up the gifts. I have to give up the kingdom. I have to give up my crowns. I have to give up peace. I have to give up glory. I have to, you know, give up everything that you've given me, everything that you laid down to me. For what? It's time for us to wake up, men and women of God. It's time for us to wake up and really keep our thought process and our focus on the one that we know that we're supposed to focus on, who is Jesus. We have to model, we have to follow the model that he has left for us. And the model that he has left for us is to be in agreement with what he had, in the things that he has done, to be in the agreement of discipleship, to be in the agreement of spreading his word, to be in the agreement of reading and studying and praying and making sure that we are on track the way that God wants us to be on track, because it is a part of his inheritance that he has left us. And we have to look at that, and we have to say, Lord, I'm grateful for the inheritance that you have left us. And I'm not going to sit up here and I'm not going to stand in a position or stand in a way to where I'm going to ruin that, all because I feel like I am starving for something. What are you starving for? Nothing. Nothing. Don't allow anything in the world, don't allow anything around you to make you feel like it can fix the appetite that you have. If you feel like you are starving, remember the inheritance of God and get in your word. Remember the inheritance of God and fall on your knees. Remember the inheritance of God and keep walking towards God. Don't allow anything else to come between you and your relationship with God. It's that time for us to be serious. It's that time for us to be focused, because God has left us something so precious, and we have to tap into it and know what it is that God has left for us, so that we can inherit it, we can receive it, and that we can be the men and women that God called us to be. So don't allow your appetite, don't allow what you think that you are starving for to get you to the point to where you're willing to sell it, to where you're willing to give it up for a meal of something that you know that isn't right for you. So I just wanted to get on here and encourage somebody and let them know God's given us an inheritance. So don't abuse it. You know, don't get rid of it. Keep God first so that you can reap everything that he has left for you. You guys have a wonderful and a blessed day, and I'll talk to you soon.